Welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. Our V.I.P featured guest is a globally recognized organizational agility coach with more than 20 years of experience working in Fortune 500 companies, as well as the founder, CEO, and coach at Cross Impact. She is a speaker and mentor in the Charlotte Women in Business Mentoring Program. In addition to that, she has a Bachelor of Business Administration from James Madison University. She spent 20 plus years working in corporate America, trying to figure out how to balance motherhood, working full-time, and climbing the corporate ladder in a very competitive tech environment. Silhouettes, let's welcome Betsy Kauffman to the show. Hello, Betsy.
Hi, Amber. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of the show today.
Well, it is a joy to connect with you and share you with our audience. So thank you once again for joining.
Great.
To help kick off our conversation, let's let you share a little bit about your background to illustrate the shaping of your silhouette of success.
Yeah, sure. So, unfortunately, you said 20 plus years, which I'm like, oh gosh, has it really been that long? I always forget. But I graduated, and I'm not going to make this a very long thing, but I graduated from college, and I kind of was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Where was I going? And as much, young adults, young women, I kind of fell into a really nice role, and I got put into a project management technology space. And I really love that work, and I did it for quite some time. And then as I was, navigating what's next, I just kept figuring out like, ooh, I love working in technology. I love working in corporate. And I also wanted to do something on my own. So I was speaking at an event about some of the work that I was doing, and somebody came up to me and said, hey, you should take your show on the road. So I quit my day job. I quit corporate America and I started my own company. And that, we'll say, the rest is history. It's been a super fun ride. I've learned a lot about, one, how to work in corporate America, as well as how to build your own company and find that success and that balance, and you leveraging your skills and how you use that. I was fortunate back in 2020, or maybe late 2019, I was actually picked to be a TED speaker. And so that was super fun. And I have a TED Talk that was launched in 2021. We were one of the first to go out into the world when it came to COVID and how to do a remote TED Talk. So we learned a lot about that. And we've been doing all kinds of really cool stuff around organizational consulting, organizational design, leadership consulting. And we just launched a brand new program called The Collaborative, which is really looking at how to support mid-level female leaders and helping them pull themselves up the corporate ladder. So that's kind of a quick background on me and, where we are at this point.
Well, there's a lot there, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
Expect nothing less. Wow. Okay. So I did a little perusing myself with your TED Talk. I loved it. Oh, it was fantastic. Fantastic. So if I can back up, because a lot of times, yes, there's a script and there's format questions, but again, if I don't go back and just pull some things out in the moment,
things away, right?
Yes, we've got to talk on that. So it was great how you said you took your show on the road.
Yeah.
So going back, was that 2014? 2014?
It
Did
was,
I
yep,
see
it was
something?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. You're good.
Wow.
Okay. You did
Yeah.
it.
So see my research. Well, it's fascinating because as women, a lot of times, and in your bio and in the intro here, you mentioned that as well about balancing and all the different roles that we as females, caregiver, all these
Right.
things, men
Yeah.
and women, everybody has roles. We get that. But we know that a lot of the onus is on the female end of
Yes.
things, and so
Yeah.
a lot of times as women and the audience is drawn to this with listening to you and the
Okay.
VIP silhouettes of success. As we look at and we're like, how does she do it? And you talked about that in your bio, and so taking your show on the road, someone told you you should do that, and
Mhm.
you listened, you heeded the advice, you had the confidence to do that. Was that something you had just organically? Did you have to build up that confidence?
Yeah, it's interesting. So when I'm a mother, I've got two now teenage boys. So again, I'm aging myself quite a bit. But when I was working in corporate, I had children. I was trying to balance that. My husband was actually starting his own company. So I was the primary breadwinner while he was getting started, right? And so there's a lot that goes into that in trying to make sure that you are doing well in your corporate world. You're also balancing motherhood and you're supporting your spouse or your partner or whoever's in your world. And you mentioned caregiver, and there's another piece of that as well. And so I think I watched my husband build his business. I had some jealousy. I'm very honest and transparent. So hopefully folks can live with that. And I was jealous. I wouldn't lie. He was, he had some flexibility. He was building his thing. He could be creative. And I kind of had to live into this corporate world of like, you only get 3 weeks vacation or 4 weeks vacation and sick days. And how do you, manage all of that? And so it sat in the back of my head as to, okay, could I do this? Could I take this? Could I actually do this on my own? There's security and safety in working for a company, right? The healthcare benefits and all the other things, but also knowing that, you have a job, you know what your charge is, hopefully, and that unless you're in a sales role, you're not really charged with having to bring in the business. You just execute on whatever the work is that you're doing. So I think, there was definitely it was sitting back there. It was maybe a fire that was dim, a little flicker. And then when somebody said, hey, you need to do this, I'm like, you know what? You're right. It is time for me to now bring my own stuff together and go out there. It was scary. It is terrifying. Because you're taking all of your security that you've maybe known for 10 years, 15 years, and saying, okay, I am going to figure out how to do this on my own and do it successfully. And as a consultant, that's tough. You've got all the big consulting firms that you're going against, and you got to figure out your value prop and who you are, and then get clients. So you're kind of you're wearing all the hats. But I just got to a point where I was like, I'm going to try this. And the worst thing that could ever happen, I felt like, was I'd have to go back to corporate. I knew that I could get a job in either back my old company or another company because I knew I had the skills to be successful. So I kind of was like, all right, let's take this leap of faith and let's do it. My husband was supportive, but also like, oh goodness gracious, you're our healthcare and our this and our that and all of the. So there takes a lot of like believing in each other to say, okay, can we do this? And I'm not going to say that it's every day is a beautiful day. And we've been in business as I've been an entrepreneur for 9 years now, which is kind of crazy and exciting at the same time. And, we still have some of these conversations as to how are we doing? How is your business going? How is my business going? So yeah, it definitely takes courage and confidence, but also just persistence and keeping going.
Talking through what your days now might look like. The alarm clock goes off and your business or workday begins. What's a day in the life look like for you in this new phase of 9 years of your Silhouette of Success journey as an entrepreneur and business owner and mentor and speaker and all those great things?
Yeah.
Would you say that you are more structured or with a routine? Are you spontaneous? Talk to us a little bit about best practices that you do.
Yeah, great question. I'm definitely more structured because I think that's how I was raised in lack of a better world. When you work in corporate or for another company, you have your set hours. And so I'm a little bit more structured. I still have a son at home who is in high school, and I still get up with him. So I've got that. We've got our morning routine. I try to get a workout in the morning. It's now that it's winter. It's easier to lie in bed and kind of stay a little bit huddled under the covers. But then once I get him out the door, I work. I sit down. I like my quiet time. I need some time to actually get my thoughts together, get my day together. And then I'll usually be working with clients throughout the morning. I do have the luxury that if I need to, I block time. Hey, I need to go get my hair cut. You know what? I'm going to block time. I get a massage once a month. And, at some point I felt like, oh gosh, this is so luxurious. How could I even think about doing this? But I needed it for my own personal balance and well-being, right? So I block that time. It's non-negotiables. I've let my assistant know, like, here are my non-negotiable times that we don't book anything. And so I have some flexibility in that case, but then I always remember, the clients are what's allowing me to have this type of life. So I do make sure I have enough time and availability to work with my clients. I do still try to shut down at 5 o'clock, right? I've got a life outside of my work. Now that I am completely remote, all of my clients remote, I don't do as much traveling or in person. I have to force myself to have a structured schedule so that I do have that balance, because I think it's easy just to sit and do work nonstop, right? And so I do need to shut down. I do need to close the devices, and I do need to kind of turn my attention and say, okay, what's next? So there's some flexibility and there is some structure. And I think it becomes every day is a little bit different in how I operate, which is what I like. I don't like the monotony of having the same routine every day, but I do love having the ability to say, okay, I'm going to go get a massage today. So for 90 minutes, which is super phenomenal, I'm not going to, for the next, 2.5 hours, you can't find me, you can't reach me. I'm not available, blocked. That's really how I think I face everything. The other reason I left corporate, and I know this sounds crazy, is I didn't want anybody dictating to me whether I could take vacation time or not, or I could take time off. Right. So that was one of the things that when I was doing this, and this is it goes back to my values. I value freedom from a standpoint of I like to make my decisions. And I remember at one point, I think I had only had like 3 weeks vacation. I'd probably used it or something. And I wanted to take some time off to either go see my sons play in a tournament or do something. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I didn't have time. And they're like, no. I'm like, no. You're not going to tell me this. So I love the fact that if I want to take off a Wednesday or a Friday, I don't have to check with anybody. I just have to make sure that my clients are aware, and I set that expectation, and then I take it off. So that's partly some of the motivation in how I run and how I operate.
Talk to us about cross impact, the cross impact method, and fill us in on the inspiration to create the business. And I'm hearing that you have an exciting launch of your cross impact collaborative. Talk to us.
Yeah. So cross impact is really, it's a company based on organizational design, organizational consulting. We do one-on-one leadership coaching. We help and go in and help with transformational work and helping companies really think about how do they work better together. We like to focus on people, process, and technology. And it's funny, when I first started, I was really in that technology space and in that technology sector just because of the work that I had done. And then as I started working in these organizations as a consultant, I had many leaders come to me from across the organization to say, I want to work with you. Can you come support us? Right. And so we found that our reach was really reaching out and helping to bring siloed areas and siloed departments together. And so we decided to say, okay, we have an impact across an organization, which is why we call ourselves cross impact. The other thing is that we also understand as humans is that we bring both our personal and professional self to work, whether we want to or not. At one point in time, I didn't do that. I think, being of where I am in my career, it was solely professional, and then you had personal. But now, as we've evolved and matured, and as humans and as organizations, we do need to bring everything who we are so that we can make an impact both personally and professionally. So that's really our motto and how we support our clients. The other thing that's really fascinating about the new launch, the collaborative, is I was doing some phenomenal brand work with a woman named Tiffany Newman. She is an amazing brand specialist. And she does a lot of work on legacy branding. So what is your legacy going to be? And the work was very deep. You send out lots of questionnaires to your clients and to your team members, and they answer about you and about the company and what you think about you. And as we did that work and as we started to pull it together, I realized that I work a lot with mid-level female leaders. And I love that demographic because we're all working in this space of how do I balance work, home, leaders, team members, right? It's that mid-level that needs that most support. And a lot of them were like, I don't get the support professionally and personally that I need because I'm no longer an emerging leader, but yet I'm not sitting at that C-suite. So I was like, well, let's create that. Let's create a space and a forum and a group where we bring mid-level female leaders together to help with their personal and their professional development. Because that group of mid-level leaders, and not just female, but leaders, seem to be forgotten, but they're also the most stressed out because they do have all those things coming at them. They kind of sit straight in that middle of that organization. So we've launched the collaborative, which is for mid-level female leaders. It is an amazing membership program where we take an entire year and we really dive deep into many, many topics: values, balance, leading with intent, difficult conversations, having a seat at the table. Those are some of the topics. We also sprinkle in one-on-one leadership coaching. We do quarterly networking events. We do a quarterly keynote where we bring another woman who's amazing into the fold and have her share her story with the group. And then every Friday, which I think is probably my most favorite part of the collaborative, we do a 15-minute meditation, which is phenomenal on a Friday because it kind of just lets you ground yourself and take a deep breath and reset from the whole crazy week and just get yourself in the right frame of mind as you're heading into your weekend. So that's the program. It's been an amazing journey just trying to get it all pulled together. I have a phenomenal team and we have a really great group of women that are going through the collaborative, and we're looking to grow. We want to add more cohorts. We want to add more women to this mix so that we can build that community to help each other and to make that impact.
Okay, transformative is what was just, I guess going through my mind the whole time.
Yeah.
Just all of the different opportunities that you are sharing in the collective, within the collective for transformation. That is remarkable. And I have to compliment you because as soon as you started, you're definitely upbeat no matter what. But your voice, there was a giddy excitement as you started, just sharing about that. So how great. Your energy level was just a tweak different in that. That was
interesting.
So cool to hear.
It's fun because it's a new offering.
Yeah.
And we're starting to put it out into the universe and we're getting some really good feedback on it. And I love it because I think it is much needed, right? Yeah. And I think we're filling a need. I know there's lots of different groups out there and lots of different groups for women, and this is the thing. There's space for all of it, right? Depending on what you need as a woman, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're still in corporate America, find a group, find a program that will support you and that will help you grow. Because I think as we get older, we kind of start to feel maybe a little bit lonely. And, we're busy, we're doing, it goes back to the beginning of what we were talking about. We are busy, busy people. And you sometimes lose who you are and you don't have that community because you're just so busy doing, right? Mother, wife, partner, caregiver, employee, employer, right? Depending on what it is. And so it's important to find a community that you can lean into that's going to help you personally and professionally. And it may be two separate things or it may be one. And that's really what we are about, is trying to create that space for that group.
Outstanding. And just so the audience knows, we'll share that link in the resource section here.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're going to give you the stage here in a few minutes to do all that, but definitely it'll be an easy click for them to get to you for the collaborative.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. So it's really a two-part question. Okay. I always like to set that expectation, right? Okay. So our brain switches over a little bit. So, thinking through your silhouette of success journey, was there ever a specific point in time, event, or key situation that really forced you to make a monumental shift within your business and career? And with that result, positive or painful, how did going through that situation help you grow?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, goodness. I had a couple that just popped up, but I'm going to go into this one I think that was the most impactful for me and for my business. When I first started my company, I actually had a business partner. And the funny thing is, he and I were speaking at the same event together. We were co presenting when somebody came up to me and said, "You need to take this show on the road." So I convinced him to also take it on the road with me, and we started the company 9 years ago. And with that comes all kinds of highs and lows. Having a business partner is an interesting dynamic. And so, for any women that are listening to this, if you have a business partner, make sure you go in with eyes wide open. I think when you start a business and you have a partner, it's always nice to have somebody there, right? You've got that partner helping you, and because it feels safer. But you don't ever think about whatever happens if the partnership doesn't go well or it needs to dissolve. And so that's what happened. We were about 4 years in, 4 to 5 years in, and he really didn't enjoy consulting. He is a phenomenal corporate steward, and he does really good being an employee of corporations. And there was always that tension between the two of us, right? As like, what do we want to do? Where are we going? And I had all these great aspirations, and we were a great team because our nicknames for each other were I was passion and he was spreadsheet. He was very good at having the numbers and doing the books and doing all the behind the stuff, right? But one day he said to me, he goes, "I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be in a consulting firm. I want to go back to corporate and have a corporate job." And that I liken that to going through a divorce. And luckily, I've never gone through a divorce personally on that side of it from a marriage, but I went through a divorce within my business. And it was tough. It was scary. It was tough. It was very contentious because as we were getting started, we never put in place what happens if we dissolve or if one of us wants to leave, right? So if we had done that up front, we maybe would have had terms that said, okay, if this happens, the other person will buy you out, or these are the assets, or this is what happens. So there was a time of having to negotiate how he would exit the company, and he wanted and keep it whole, as well as keep our clients whole, as well as give him what was his due, right, in order to leave, because he did help to build the company. And so that was a very tough, difficult, dark time. And we came to terms, we worked through it, and I really questioned myself. Can I do this on my own? Can I build this company? Can I really take it to the next level? And I doubted myself. There were times when I wanted to put the company down, when I wanted to sunset it, when I wanted to go back to corporate because that was so much easier. I persevered. I won't lie, I interviewed during that time, and I did all the things I think a lot of folks do when they're starting their own company. It's like you question, can you do this? Can you do this on your own? And that's when I rebranded the company to Cross Impact at that time, because I realized it was time for me, after I went through that dark period, it was time for me to really figure out who we are and to lean into myself. And to really think about, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And where do I want to take this company? And that's what I've been doing the past now 4 years from there. And I have to say that there's power in knowing and having that confidence that you can do this. Anybody can, you can do it. Again, build a support system. Make sure you've got folks who are there to, when you want to cry, when you want to quit, when you want to put it on the shelf, and have some honest conversations with those folks as well as with yourself. And so I think that was a real turning point, and that was a low point in this journey. But I think at this point, we're now in a good space, and I feel good. We've got a great team. We're about 13 to 14 people strong in the company, and it's a mix of FTEs and consultants and contractors. And we're continuing to evolve and grow, and really build out who we are as an organization.
Listening to that growth, and looking from maybe then over, like you said, the last couple of years to now,
Mhm.
What positive adjustments, maybe one or two, could you point to that you've made in your life or environment to help support this growth and the goals in achieving these dreams?
Yeah. Um, Positive adjustments. I would say it is surrounding myself with a support team that believes in what we're doing, right? I have an amazing marketing director who I can literally send her Slack messages at all times and bounce ideas. And that's helpful for me. I also have an amazing operations team that catches everything I throw at them, which is a lot of stuff. So I think that's a positive adjustment, is finding that team and putting that team in place to support you, not just professionally, but like we get on calls and we're like, oh my gosh, let's talk about what's going on. And we talk about our kids and we talk about our life and we talk about the craziness that's going on. And so we have a true friendship as well as a professional working. And I think the other thing for me is creating, and I have to release energy. So finding a outlet, which for me, I try to do, exercise, strength training, that type of thing, and being able, I actually do some of my best work when I can step away from my computer. And then I hike. We live in a beautiful property and I get to hike. So if I just need to, I can clear my head. So I think those are the things that I make sure I have constantly so that I can keep the positivity going, right? And like being able to just keep your mind in a good space, because it's easy for us to go into those like dark, like, oh, I can't do this. I'm terrible. I'm not worth it. To like, okay, get up, step away, take a deep breath, look out what's going on out in the outside world, and reach out to your support team.
When do you feel your greatest sense of satisfaction?
Oh goodness, you're doing the work that I do. I don't usually I ask that question.
Tables turn.
Yeah,
Who knew?
um, I, you know, I think it's when it feels like we're just everything is kind of firing on all cylinders. And when I say everything, it's like, okay, my kids are doing well, they're doing okay in school, they've got their, they're good. The team knows what they're doing, my clients are happy, I'm feeling balanced. I think that is a satisfaction, is that I can just like I'm kind of doing this like thing with my hands, but like everything is just doing what it's supposed to do of how we've created it, right? And there's not that off balance of like, oh, my one son isn't doing well in school, right? Oh no, what are we going to do? I gotta, or the client's not happy, or the team doesn't know what they're doing and they're kind of all over the place. So it's when everything feels like it's kind of in its place and we've created it and we've built it and it's just moving forward on its own. That's, I think, the satisfaction that I am like, okay, good, breathe. Breathe. Because now you can just have that, like, your mind is in a nice, easy place.
Love that. Love that. Betsy, we're going to take a quick break to hear
Okay.
from this episode's sponsor. We'll be right back.
Is it time to sell your home? Build that dream home? Right size? Or are you ready to invest in real estate? Couture Real Estate Firm is a local female-owned independent brokerage laser-focused on services exclusively tailored to our clients' real estate goals. With our forward-thinking business model, we have a fully mobile, luxury real estate concept allowing convenience, flexibility, efficiency for our clients in style. Amber Weitzer, broker-owner of Couture Real Estate Firm, has over 20 years in the real estate industry and is a second-generation broker. She provides straightforward business practices, integrity, and intelligence with a commitment to a high-touch, consistent customer service experience. We take great pride in our reputation as a strong, referral-based brokerage. Discretion, tenacity, respect, and proactive business practices have earned Couture Real Estate Firm a loyal, repeat client business with a trusted global partner network. We strive for ultimate client satisfaction with successful results, doing it with class, consciousness, and a little avant-garde. In addition to serving our clients and vendor partners, we are extremely honored to be actively engaged in supporting the communities we serve by promoting small businesses, schools, and nonprofits. Real estate is direct sales business at its core, and we are highly trained sales professionals with the Mike Ferry organization, adding dimension to the industry. Passionate about customer service, dedicated to client satisfaction, and driven to achieve successful results for our clients. Call Couture Real Estate Firm today at 817-233-7239 to discuss your real estate goals.
And we are back. All right, Betsy, we all crave great resources that might help to inspire or uplift, expand our minds, or sometimes, as I tease, just get us through the day.
Yes.
Reflecting back on what you said about firing on all cylinders, sometimes, there's that hiccup in the day. So do you have a favorite, whether it's a book, an author, or resource, anything that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so I have a few. I am a huge fan of Jen Sincero. I don't know. She wrote
Yes.
You're a Badass. Yes, I love her humor, and I think if I knew her, if I met her, if I lived in the same city, we'd probably be good friends. We're both a little bit punchy. We're both a little bit raw. But I love her. Like, you're a badass. You're a badass at making money. Right now, I listen to audibles. That's kind of how I don't have a lot of time to sit and read. So I actually put in an audible and I walk, or I do something, or I'm doing something on the side. I'm listening to Badass Habits. You're a badass at implementing habits. So I love her work, just because it's funny and punchy, but it's also good, right? The other person that I love to listen to is Dan Sullivan with a strategic coach. So he helps business entrepreneurs really build their business. And he's really good about mindset and just thinking about how to build your business better. And he's got a slew of podcasts and really quick books out there. And so I like to listen to him. They're very kind of inspirational, and they get you thinking, and they get you kind of your juices flowing. So that would be, I think, the two that are right now sitting in my Audible library. The other thing, I talked about meditation. So I don't, of course, the collaborative offers it. And so that's the one that's on my calendar. I am finding that when I just need time to kind of regroup, I pop on and there's a ton of different resources out there. I pop on a meditation, a 10-minute, and I just take the time to stop, slow down, breathe, close my eyes, and kind of regroup and recenter. So I would recommend, and I'm not really phenomenal at meditation. My mind wanders. So I think that also becomes interesting because it's a habit that you have to build, is how to keep your mind not from wandering, right? Like, how do you stay focused and how do you stay in the moment? And so that's always a good practice, and it's quick and it's easy. And so I would, I think I would encourage whoever's listening to also think about putting some meditation into your day, if you can, into your practice.
Perfection. All of them. All of them. And so again, we'll make sure we've got all of those links and your thoughts in the show notes here, because phenomenal resources. This
Yeah.
I know for sure, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on those. All right, my lady, time goes quick. It just does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it goes so quick, and there's always so many different layers that I just want to dive into. But respecting your time as we begin to wrap up, keeping the promise with the audience to share intentional inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a piece of key go-to advice that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, goodness. I think show up authentically, right? Really, lean into who you are, know your values, and don't be afraid to be you, because that's really what the world needs. And I think we tend to, in this new world of social media, we try to be something else or someone else because we think the world wants to see that. And I think we just need more folks that are authentic and are not afraid to put themselves out there. And don't be afraid of that.
Perfection. Perfection. Love it. Love it. Thank you for that. All right, my lady, the stage is completely yours. Where can our audience go to find and connect with you on your socials or your website or contact information and support you in your continued success?
Yeah, thanks, Amber. The link in with me on LinkedIn, it's LinkedIn Betsy Kauffman. And we'll put that link in there. And I think you'll get a lot of information. I put all kinds of words of wisdom out there. We also have a quick tip that we send out every Monday for leadership inspiration. So you can find that on my website. It's crossimpactcoaching.com. We are getting ready to launch a whole brand new website called Cross Impact. And we'll put that in the link as well. And then the collaborative, you can find all the phenomenal stuff in the collaborative either on the website or if you link in with me, we're constantly putting stuff out there about the collaborative. So that would be the best way to connect with me. And I hope that some of the listeners will. And, just connect if you want to have a conversation. I would love to just a 15, I call them the virtual coffees, right? What's going on? How are you doing? Check in. I love to just, explore how folks are doing and what they want to learn.
Excellent. Betsy, it has been a genuine pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for taking time to spend with us, for sharing your silhouette of success. And I have to say, you have been a complete delight. And I am so excited for what you are embarking on and what you have accomplished. And who knows, excited maybe for a part 2 to see what's next with you.
Exactly. No, thanks, Amber. This has been so much fun. I really, really appreciate you having me on your show.
Awesome. All right, my lady, until next time, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the light to help illuminate another silhouette of success. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at thesilhouettesofsuccess.com or connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're grateful that you've tuned in. Remember, you are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success.